Here I am back again with another video from my garage late at night. All right, the big question tonight is, are Z-mount lenses worth investing in? And these are the thoughts of someone who recently just bought into Nikon mirrorless at the end of 2023. So I've only been with the system for 6-7 months. I have fresh eyes on Nikon lenses because I've had to, I've been obsessed with them. I've been buying and selling Nikon lenses for the last 7 months. I have no Nikon like rose colored glasses. I know your time is valuable. If you want to just know the bottom line, my bottom line takeaway is, are Z-mount lenses worth investing in? The answer is, it depends. And I know that sounds like a cop-out, but if you are a wildlife or sports shooter or action shooter, absolutely Nikon Z-mount is worth investing in. If you're a pro portrait event lifestyle shooter, I would say Sony and Canon may have better, smaller, more affordable options. But if you're okay with adapting f-mount glass, then Nikon, it really opens up the Nikon catalog, and I think it can be a great option for shooting weddings, events, portraits, lifestyle. Now, if you're a hybrid shooter like me, and you need your lenses to do double duty, it needs to shoot video and photo, my conclusion is that Z-mount is not ready yet. I would say it's not worth investing in Z-mount lenses yet. So yeah, that's the bottom line. If you want to click off the video right now, you can. If you want to hear a more nuanced take on Z lenses, I've tried a bunch of them. I'll give you my thoughts on Z-mount lenses in general and also individual lenses. Stick around and I'm going to go through all of my more detailed notes about Nikon lenses. And also why I'm sticking with Nikon mirrorless, even though I'm not using Z-mount lenses for the most part. First off, the biggest problem is it's an incomplete catalog. There's no 7200 f4. There's no 16 to 35. And most importantly, there are no f1.4 primes. There's the 1.8s, and we'll get to that. And then there's the 1.2s, and we're going to get into that too. But there is no 1.4 primes, except the brand new 35 millimeter. I haven't used it. I haven't really seen that much samples from it yet, so I can't really comment on that yet. So number one, incomplete range. Number two, the premium lenses are completely impractical for non-pros and for some pros too. They're just so damn huge. They're so huge and they're so expensive. I have the Canon EF 51.2, and it is like it's like a fraction of the size of the Nikon Z version. The 1.8s, they sit in this weird space. They're not cheap. They're not like affordable 1.8s that the f-mount ones were. The Z-mount 1.8s are expensive. They're not super compact, and they don't give you amazing speed. So they're just kind of in this like weird no man's land. And I know a lot of people rave about the 51.8. I owned it. I shot with it. It's nice. It's nice. It's very sharp. It's very sharp. And people say that's a good thing. To me, it's too sharp. And I own the 85 1.8 as well. They do not have a ton of character. And so we have this weird gap between the 1.8s and we have the 1.2s. They're these ridiculous monsters. This is where not having the Sigma art lenses as native Z mounts, that really hurts, because those Sigma lenses would just slide right in. And I think those would be a great option for Nikon Z full frame mirrorless. Now let's talk about optical quality. And this is where we're gonna get some very subjective territory. But for me, the Z mount lenses, I don't love the rendering on them. I'll just be honest about it. Can you get amazing results with Nikon Z with Z mount lenses? Of course you can. I've seen some beautiful shots on some of these lenses, but I think in general, just like these are like my general impression. I don't love the rendering. I don't love the character. Sometimes the skin tones is a little waxy. I've had the 24-70 2.8 S lens. I sold that one pretty quick. I just don't think it's worth the price. It's like, what they're charging, over $2,000. It's a good lens, sure, it's a good lens, but it didn't wow me. It didn't wow me. I didn't love how it rendered people and skin tones. I did take it to the zoo and I shot some birds and animals with it, and it looked great. It looked a lot better with animals, I thought, than with humans. You know, people rave about that lens, saying it's like one of the best 24 to 70s ever. Personally, I like the old Canon EF 24-70 f2.8. I thought the rendering on that was much more pleasing. Maybe not as sharp as the Nikon, but I, you know, again, I don't really care about sharpness. It's not worth the price tag and the size and weight. I had the 50 1.8 and the 85 1.8S. I thought both of them were good, but not great. Just it lacked character. It didn't make me feel anything. The photos I was getting from those, they were good digital photos. Now let me talk about some lenses I actually did like from the Nikon Z series. The 40mm f2. It's a great little lens. I was like, it was the first lens I owned on my ZF when I first bought it. I was constantly pleasantly surprised by the results I was getting from that 40. It was constantly punching above its weight. The only reason why I sold it is because I tested it up against my Contax Zeiss 50mm 1.4, and the rendering on that lens, which I got for 150 bucks, it just blew it away. Just so much more micro contrast, so much more pop, much more pleasing skin tones and out of focus rendering. The normal focal range of 40 to 60, there is just so much competition in that range that even though the 40mm f2, it punches way above its weight in class, I personally probably wouldn't use it that much because I have better 50s. Now the 28, I still have that one. This is the only Z mount lens that I kept. The 28 f2.8. I feel like everyone raves about the 40mm, but I think I actually like the 28mm better than the 40mm. I think it has more character. It's very contrasty. It has flaws. There's a large vignette wide open. You know, it's not a perfect lens by any means, but it has a lot of character. Yeah, I like it. Also because it feels more of a need for me. Having a 28mm field of view on a compact lens, it's more practical for me because I can throw it on my Nikon ZFC, and it's a 40mm field of view. It's like my normal everyday lens, or I can put it on my Z8, and it's a wide angle lens. I think it's a gem. For the price and the size. My favorite Z lens so far is actually the 24 to 120 f4 S lens. It's a great lens. I'm usually not a fan of f4 zooms. For example, I never liked the 24 to 105 f4 from Sony, Panasonic, or Canon. I had all of those lenses, but I never liked them because at 105 f4, I never really got the separation that I wanted. So it was just like kind of like a meh lens. However, 120 f4 is very different from 105 f4. You can get really good separation. And also the reach of 120 is very useful. It's very useful for a lens that's not too big and not too expensive. The image quality is really good. It's really good. It's not like it didn't blow me away like some of the best lenses I've ever owned. No, but it's really good, and it's just so versatile. The most versatile lens I've ever used, I've ever owned. It's actually a very strong argument as to why you would buy Nikon Z and buy Nikon lenses in general, is because no other manufacturer makes a 24 to 120 f4. Out of all of the Nikon Z lenses that I've tried, I think it was actually the best lens because it's so unique and it's so useful and it's so versatile. The 50 1.2, I would rather just use the Canon version. I would actually rather use the Sigma version. Smaller, cheaper, more compact, and arguably nicer images. I hear the 35 1.4 has a lot of character. Maybe I'll try that and end up loving it. Maybe that makes the Z mount more compelling. Or if Sigma can release the full frame art lenses on Z mount, that also makes Z mount much more compelling. I think these little compact Nikon lenses, this is where Nikon is showing its strength. These are some of the best compact lenses out there. I can't think of other really cheap compact lenses that I've tried from other manufacturers that are as good as this. And yeah, the 24 to 120, that's the sleeper. That's the hidden gem. That's the unsung hero of the Z mount lineup, I would say. If you're willing to use the FTZ adapter, the F mount catalog is great. The rendering on some of those F mount lenses are amazing. The reason why I'm not adapting F mount lenses, even though I like the rendering better than the Z mount lenses, is I don't know if those F mount G lenses are great for video. I've tried a few of them at the camera shop. I don't love how they focus. I don't love how they manually focus. So I don't know if they're great options for video. But yeah, I think for photography, they're great. They focus the wrong way for video as well. So I don't know if that's another reason why I'm not sure if I would go down that road. Okay, so if I have sold all of my Z mount lenses, if I didn't really love them for whatever reason, so what am I using on my Z bodies? So this is my Nikon Z8. I have a Canon EF lens on here. This is the 51.2L, and I have the Fringer, and I have the Fringer Mark II adapter. And yeah, it works really well. Is it perfect like native glass? Probably not. No. Is it good enough for me for photos? Yes. My photography is mostly lifestyle, documentary style, family stuff. I shoot like thumbnails for work and stuff like that. So I don't really need perfect autofocus all the time. But that being said, it works really well. And then for video, I don't rely on autofocus for video that much. It's kind of a Frankenstein setup, but I'm used to it because ever since I had my first Sony A7S and A7 III cameras, I've always been adapting lenses to them. These EF mount L lenses, I think they're modern classics. You still have autofocus if you need it, but they have character from the 90s, from a simpler time. And I also love my contact Zeiss lenses. I've been shooting on contact Zeiss lenses ever since my first Sony cameras. Those were some of the first lenses I adapted to it. There are no modern lenses that render better than those contact Zeiss lenses. Maybe I should change this title to why modern mirrorless lenses are not for me, because honestly I feel kind of the same way about RF lenses and Sony E-mount lenses. I just don't, maybe modern lenses are just not for me. I think EF lenses are now becoming vintage, so it makes sense that I'm using those now. So I hope this video was informative in some way. If you disagree, let me know in the comments below. But anyways, thanks for sticking to the end, and I will catch you on the next one.